Alrighty, so we have the last three Tower of Trials floors, and today we are going to be working on floor 29, which is the blue Ludociel Margaret stage, which has been pretty difficult so far. It's taken me several tries to kind of figure out something that would work. I think I've finally got something that could work, but it might rely a little bit on RNG, which is a little unfortunate. But yeah, this is going to be the last three sets of floors, or three floors that we're going to be getting for Tower of Trials. They released a dev note not too long ago saying that we are, going to be getting rid of the game mode, unfortunately, at some point in the not so near-ish future. They're going to give us a couple of months to be able to finish them all, which is a bit odd that they're just getting rid of the game mode outright, and these videos typically do pretty well for me for channel growth and everything, so if these videos end up helping you out at all, feel free to subscribe, stick around on the channel or whatever you want to do. Obviously that would help me out quite a bit. So yeah, either way, let's hop into the thing. It's gonna look really bizarre, but bear with me here a little bit. I genuinely think that this green Frowdren might be one of the easiest ways to sort of get around this stage. Obviously, there are other ways to do it. I have seen, Nagato use, what did he use exactly? His was Matrona, Gother, and Trader Melly, and then Amazing also did a video where he used Deanne, Green Liz, and Trader Melly, but I do think that Trader Melly helps quite a bit. I'm going to be using Deanne as our taunt unit because she also hits pretty hard as well, but you'll be kind of surprised. Also, Nanashi is in the back just for basically ult control. He's not really giving us any of his relic buffs or anything, so don't worry about having his relic. His passive is basically just there to help us try to ult control a bit here and there, so that way Margaret doesn't ultimate as much as possible, because that is basically going to be a guaranteed one shot, and it's going to kill whoever she hits almost. I did survive it one time in the last run that I did, but you can see here I actually have the perfect hand turn one, and you might be wondering why. Basically, this is one of the only characters in the game that actually has an AoE buff removal card without it being tied to an ultimate, which is just really nice. So basically what we're going to be doing here is taunting up, trying to get a couple of stacks out on Margaret, so that way she can actually start doing a little bit more damage. And then once Margaret starts to buff, we can actually use this AoE buff removal card, and every time we remove a buff, we're basically going to get an all stats buff. And so if she uses it on all three of her allies here, it's just going to give us a ton of buffs in return, and it should help Melly basically do just tons of damage with his Amplify card. So we're going to try to hold on to those if possible. Obviously, if we get a couple extras or whatever, we can use those on the side characters as well. But you do want to be careful not to crit Margaret. If you crit Margaret, it's basically going to give her a big attack buff that is going to be really hard to deal with, because it's going to make her do so much more damage. It's really tough. So you don't want to crit her, multiple times in a row, and if you do crit her, we want to make sure that you can buff removal, which I think is another reason why this Frowdren's so good, is because most buff removals are single targets, or you would have to rush like an ultimate or something like that. So we are going to just try to get a little bit of damage out on these characters. I'm not really sure splitting the damage is great here. I know that last time I ran the stage, once I killed the right character, it ended up full healing the other one, so it might be a little bit of a mistake here. We actually are getting a little bit of extra buff removal cards, which is really good for me, because that basically means that I might be able to get rid of this Pierce card, and just get rid of the Margaret attack buff that she's going to put on anyway, so that could be really good for me. So I'm really tempted to just try to go ahead and get rid of one of these side characters so we don't have to deal with so many attacks, but she is buffing this turn, so I think we're going to hold on to it. She's not attacking either, so I think what we're going to do is use this. I don't really want to use it as a level 3, but I think we'll just go ahead and do it, which might end up kind of biting me in the future if I can't end up pulling extra ones, but get some good damage out there. This probably ends up critting the Margaret. Yeah, it does. So you're going to see she's going to get this big attack buff here, which is definitely a problem. Luckily, the ultimate on Frowdren is actually an ult gauge removal, which actually helps quite a bit if I end up getting rid of the side characters. I can actually use that on Margaret to help ult control as well. So he's just, for some bizarre reason, he just almost has the perfect kit to help me here, which is just really weird. So you can see all of these characters have like pretty decent buffs. Each one of them has 3, so I think that means we should get 9 buffs here. We're gonna go ahead and I think we'll ultimate with Deanne first, so that way we can make sure that if it does crit the Margaret, that we can get rid of the buffs that it puts on. We do have 2 extra Amplify cards, which is kind of nice, but I think what I'm going to do here is attack like this. Unless this ends up... Okay, it didn't even kill the one on the right, so I guess that's good for me. This cancels all of those buffs. Obviously, he's not going to do too much damage. It would have been really nice if we could have killed that one on the left, but if this kills, it's going to heal him up, I think. Which I think it did, which that's unfortunate. You can see we did get a bunch of these buffs, though. We didn't get 9, so it seems like it's a maximum of 5. Let me look at what these buffs actually do, because I've had some of the buffs on before, and it gave me 5% basics or all stats, and then some of them, sometimes it gave me 4% all stats, so it was just a bit awkward in some situations. I think, unfortunately, because Margaret is attacking so many times, she's going to end up getting her ultimate here, which is very bad for me. So let me look at these buffs really quickly just to see what they do. These are 4% buffs. You can see them above my head up here. So, I mean, they're buffs regardless, so we should end up dealing a really good amount of damage. I guess what we're going to do is just use both of these, hope that that kills the guy, which it looks like it's going to, and then we can use this ult removal card on Fraudrin to get through and stop the Margaret from ulting here, which is really lucky for me, because that would have absolutely destroyed whoever she attacked, and if she would have killed Melly there, it would have been a really bad time. So luckily for us, we do get Nanashi buffs on her, actually, which is really good. You can also use this Extort card from Fraudrin as a single target to help with Melly's passive. I guess we'll just kind of see how it goes. She is attacking twice, and one of them is a silver card. If we end up critting with Deanne here, which is very likely, we're going to have to deal with a little bit of extra damage, which is unfortunate. So, yeah, she does end up critting there. Hopefully it's not too bad. She is buffing this turn, so I think we should hopefully be able to get away with ulting. Getting rid of the buffs that she has, that will give us extra buffs, and then we can use hopefully these 2 single target amplify cards to get a little bit of extra damage off. We're not going to get the Nanashi buffs, unfortunately, because we have too many cards in hand, so that is a bit annoying, but we're basically just going to go all in here. We could potentially remove the ultimate here. That might actually be the better way to go if we're going to play it safe. And she's using a level 3 buff as well, so that's actually going to give her basic stats. I think what we do... This is a cleave ultimate, so she's only going to be using 1 attack card. It's going to be a tough call on whether or not I just go for the win here. I'm going to see if we can kill here. If not, I might reset, because this one is getting really annoying to fight, to be honest with you. But we might be able to just remove her ultimate and then remove the buffs. Okay, we did a lot of damage. A lot of the times my cards don't deal a whole lot of damage there. I'm not sure if it's one of her passives or not, but I know, very bizarre team. I do not really have a good replacement for Fraudrin, unfortunately. I guess because you're only getting the buffs for 1 turn, you kind of have to make it count. I guess if you wanted to go for a character that had ultimate or buff removal on the ultimate, kind of like Melly already has, you could potentially just do it like that. Try to use somebody else who has a little bit more ult gauge control. You know, this one's a bit odd. I gotta be honest. I don't have great results for this one, but if you have any extra characters that you think could help a whole lot, or a different team that you used that helped you out and got you through this fight, leave it down in the comments below. I'm sure it will help somebody out. But yeah, that's basically it for me. Hopefully this was helpful, or at least gave you, you know, enough of an idea of how the mechanics of the fight actually work to where you were able to come up with something. Because obviously I know that Melly's a big festival character. He's very exclusive. A lot of people don't have him. I completely understand that. Deanne's also a festival character, and Fraudrin really isn't a whole lot of, on a whole lot of banners. I think he might be in the coin shop if it's not the blue one. I can't remember exactly if it is or not, but yeah, not really the greatest team. I don't really like using a team like this for a guide, but it just kind of is what it is. Either way, hopefully it helped you out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one.